The longest sleep. Elara stood in the hallway, staring at the little cardboard doors of her advent calendar. To an 8-year-old, 24 days felt like 24 years. She pressed her nose against the paper, wishing she could peek behind the very last door. Patience is the secret ingredient of Christmas, her mother always said, but Elara thought the secret ingredient was taking a very long time to arrive. The next morning, the house smelled like cinnamon and magic. Elara helped Marisol in the kitchen, where the counters were hidden under a dusting of flour. They were making gingerbread stars. "Is it Christmas yet?" Elara asked, her hands sticky with dough. Marisol laughed and tucked a stray hair behind Elara's ear. "Not yet, little star. We have to wait for the dough to rise and the cookies to snap." That evening, the living room transformed. Elara and Cedar hauled a giant pine-scented tree into the corner. It looked naked and shivering until they brought out the boxes of lights. Cedar lifted Elara high onto his shoulders so she could reach the very top branches. "The tree is waiting too," Cedar whispered. "It's waiting for its jewels." A heavy blanket of snow fell on Tuesday, turning the world into a quiet, white marshmallow. Elara and Marisol bundled up in thick scarves and headed to the end of the driveway. They stood by the red mailbox, looking for letters from faraway cousins. The air was so cold it turned their breath into tiny clouds. "The mail is late," Elara sighed. "Everything is waiting," Marisol replied, squeezing her hand. Bramble, the family's scruffy terrier, didn't seem to mind the wait. He just wanted to catch the snowflakes. Elara sat on the porch steps with him, watching him snap at the air. "Do you think the reindeer are practicing, Bramble?" she asked. Bramble tilted his head and let out a soft woof, which Elara decided meant definitely. By Thursday, the house was a disaster of ribbons and tape. Elara and Cedar sat on the floor, surrounded by colorful paper. Wrapping presents was much harder than it looked. Elara tried to tie a bow, but her fingers got tangled in the string. "It's like a puzzle," Cedar said, helping her pull the knot tight. "A secret puzzle that no one can open until the big day." The nights were the longest part. To pass the time, Marisol and Elara curled up in the big armchair by the fireplace. The flames danced in orange and blue, casting long shadows on the walls. Marisol read stories of old winter spirits and frozen kingdoms. Elara listened to the rhythm of the words, feeling the warmth of the fire seep into her toes. Finally, it was Christmas Eve. The waiting was almost over, but the final hours felt like molasses. Elara carefully placed a plate of cookies and a tall glass of milk on the hearth. She made sure to leave a few carrots for the reindeer, too. "I hope they like ginger stars," she whispered to the empty room. Before bed, Cedar took Elara to the window. The sky was a deep velvet purple, pinned with 1,000 tiny diamonds. They searched the horizon for a moving light or a ringing bell. "Look," Cedar pointed to the brightest star. "That's the North Star. It's the compass for the night." Elara watched it, her heart thumping with excitement. Elara woke up before the sun. The house was silent, but it felt different, charged with a special kind of electricity. She crept down the stairs and saw them. The stockings were heavy and full, and the space under the tree was crowded with color. The wait was over. Elara realized that all the baking, the wrapping, and the looking at stars weren't just waiting. They were part of the magic all along.